Hi, we're here to do rating curves on Excel, your favorite program. And the assignment has a culvert, which is rectangular in shape, has a square bottom, square in terms of flat sides, and the width of it is 2 meters. So when we're calculating the area, it's going to be really easy because we have a straight width, and the only thing that's changing is our height. It's going up and down. So we're basically working out the area of a rectangle. And then we add in our velocity that we've measured, and then we can get our discharge by multiplying our velocity times our area. So with our stage, which is basically our height, times our width, we can multiply the two together to get our area. So I'm going to go to Formulas and Math and Trig functions, and it's the product that I want. You could also check at Insert functions and see if product is there as a recently used function or not. And we're multiplying the width, so I'm just going to highlight the width column or cell and the stage cell, and then hit the tab, and then highlight the stage cell. So B4 times A4. Okay. And now for the discharge, I want to multiply my velocity times my area. So I'm going to go back to my product again. There we go. And this time it is D4 times C4. Okay. And we want the same thing done all the way down. So I'm going to go back to my area, click on the lower right hand corner and drag it down, and it will do all of those calculations for me. And if I want everything to 2 decimal places, I can right click, go to Format Cells, go to Number, click on the number, and it says that I want to go to 2 decimal places now. There we are, so everything's even. And for my discharge, I have it calculated in 1 row, so I'm just going to click on the lower right hand corner and drag it down. And there we have it. Now I want it just in 2 decimals because our meter, our meter went to 3 decimals, so we're okay. We always want to be as accurate as our meter. So if our meter goes to 3 decimal places, our answer can go to 3 decimal places. You'll notice that 0.7125 has 4 decimals in it, so we're just going to change it. So we can go back to Format Cells, Number, 3 is fine, oops, 2, 3, okay, and there we are. Now, we want to take this information, now that we have historical background, and put it on a curve. And this is what is done at all stream recording stations. They take their historical data and plot it, so that can save some time in the future. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to select a chart. I want the scatter chart. And amongst all of the scatter charts, I want the curved line showing the points that are plotted. And for some reason it's gone and plotted all my individual columns. So we're just going to say delete, 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 delete. And we'll start with a blank slate, and I'm going to say that I want to add data. So I'm going to go to the Select Data column, and I'm going to add information in, and the series name, we'll call it the rating curve. That's our title. So for my X, I want the discharge. So I'm going to highlight the units in my column. And for my Y, get rid of that equals 1 in brackets. They put it in by default. You want to get rid of it. For the Y, we want the stage. And we're going to click on OK. And OK again. And there we are. Now, we're going to add some more fine lines in here so it's easier to read the graph. So I'm going to place the cursor over the lower axis. And before they do that, I should label it. So I'm just going to put Chart Layouts. I find that if I do this before I add the major and minor lines, the lines stay. If I add the lines first and then do the chart layout, it writes those lines out, which you'll find that very frustrating. I know I do. So we have discharge along the bottom, and that's in cubic meters per second. And we have stage along the top, and that's in meters. Okay, now to get those lines I was talking about, I'm just going to put the cursor over top of one of the numbers and click right or left, and then right click and say add major grid lines. So there we go. And if we want some more lines, I'm going to say add minor grid lines. And I'm going to do the same over here. Add minor grid lines. I already added the major ones for me. So one of the questions might be that when the discharge, when the stage is 0.8, what is the discharge? So we would go along the 0.8 to where it intersects the line and then project down. And that works out to be 0.8 cubic meters per second discharge-wise. This is why we keep historical data from a stream station, because the conservation authority, or whoever's doing the measurement, can cut some time back. Rather than going and measuring the height and measuring the velocity and calculating the discharge, they can go to the stream or get the data from the stream encoder, the data logger, and it says the stream height is this much. They can go to this curve and say, okay, well, if it's this high, this is what the discharge is. Or they can have the computer tell them. So much faster. And remember, this was a question on an interview with Hydrometric Survey of Canada. So don't blank when you get asked the question about what a rating curve is and what you find out on it.